Hey everybody, welcome back. It's nice to see you guys, and I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to be explaining, is a degree actually worth it? One of the questions that I get asked a lot is, was my degree worth it? Okay, so I've completed a undergraduate bachelor's degree in computer science and a master's degree in computer science, and to me, I found that this was the best option, but for some people it's different. You see, one of the things that people don't realize about a degree is that you are only getting as much as you put into it, okay? Now, one of the things that people don't realize is that actually the time commitments and the ability to manage yourself, take on assignments, is something that a lot of people don't really have, okay? At college level, we sort of just get given our work. Sometimes it's kind of spoon-fed to us depending on what we're doing. So actually learning the routine of being set deadlines, having to work within a specific criteria, these can be things that actually make your work experience better, so that when you leave university, you've actually got a better chance at being able to function in a job environment, okay? And most of these are just administrative skills, okay? And these aren't necessarily things that you have to go to university for, but these can be things that are really useful to you as an individual and as a worker entering the work. The second thing I'd say, if you're wondering if a degree is the option for you, is basically looking out for degrees that offer specialist training, okay? Now, I come from a STEM field, okay? Now, what STEM is science, technology, engineering and maths, and anything in that sort of realm is going to be related to a specific field that you need training for. And what you'll find often is a lot of these jobs actually have a bachelor's degree as a minimum requirement for entry. Now, I'm not saying that you necessarily need to get a STEM degree to enter a STEM field, but it is a good starting point if you haven't come from anywhere before. Now, one of the things that I've noticed is that degrees will often be, to most managers, something like a tick box. And what you have to understand about a tick box is that when somebody is looking through your CV, most of the time that won't be the sort of person that you're going to be working with in a degree or environment, okay? So what you're going to be looking for is they're going to be looking for job experience, they're going to be looking for professional experience, personal projects, and essentially what most people who look at your CV are doing is they're looking over, do they have this? Do they have this? Do they have this? And they're maybe not assessing your application and quality as a whole, rather than just looking at very specific things. Does this candidate meet option A? Does this candidate meet option B? So these are things to think about as a doorstep, as an entry requirement towards your job. So one of the things that I hear quite often is many people now are saying, and this is not just something that's come across recently, this is something that's been around for a while. One of the things that's come across is people asking whether or not they can skip the degree and just do work experience instead. Sometimes, at least in the United Kingdom from where I'm filming, sometimes going apprenticeship scheme can be the best way to achieve a certain goal or aspiration. Now, in some countries, apprenticeship schemes are not common, okay? So sometimes what you're really looking at is a degree or nothing. Now, what I can personally say is that when you are trying to enter a specific field, okay, sometimes you will want to go after work experience placements, okay? You maybe will do an unpaid internship at a company, or for instance, many software developers who teach themselves to code. That's just from my field of STEM specifically. But what you might see is that a degree might be an alternate entry path towards a career that you're looking for. And that's what, for most people, it is a pathway to get there, okay? Now, that's not to say that a degree is totally necessary to get there. What I'm seeing more and more is these work-based schemes where you're trained on the job. And what a lot of people will tell you actually is that past their degree and going into a job experience, whether you be an engineer or you're working in IT, or you're working in another STEM field, or any field whatsoever, is that lots of people are going to tell you, and especially lots of graduates are going to tell you, that past graduation, they don't actually use their degree much when they go into work experience. And that could be quite a shock to people that don't know about that. But all that I'm trying to make with that point is that sometimes what you do in your degree won't strictly be related to your job, okay? There are skills that you can take from your degree, depending on how it goes, that can then feed into that job. But sometimes you will find that using the skills in your degree in your job is actually a lot harder than they might have made out at university. So one of the things that you might ask yourself if you are working in STEM or if you're working in any other field is a degree worth the money? Well, this is something that has been the subject of debate for a very long time, and it basically just depends on what you consider to be a useful use of your time. Now, for some people, they see a degree as a complete waste of money, and in some perspectives, I can totally understand this, okay? You're putting a lot of money and time into effort to something that you don't really know is going to pay off, and to a lot of people, they describe a degree as kind of a gamble, really, because they're putting their money in the faith, in the hands that eventually the investment of a degree will pay off in a better job. Now, this is something that people have been debating for a while, and I will say that it is largely dependent on the field that you're entering. So you really need to figure out whether or not the degree is the right investment for you, okay? And that's the mindset that I would encourage most people to adopt, is that a degree is a mindset. It is an investment. You are in there for the long haul to see what you can possibly get out of that degree. And it's something that I say to everybody, is that despite whatever degree you might enter, you're going to be taking skills from that degree, you know, like I've said, administrative skills, organizational skills, meeting deadlines, working on research tasks, and that's just something that you need to keep into account is the content of that degree and what it sets you up to be later on past graduation. Is that worth your time? Is that worth paying the tuition money? Another thing that's considered is the money that you're paying for accommodation worth it as well? If you can live at home whilst doing your degree, whilst I know it's not an entirely popular option, this is something that you need to think about too. Don't go to university if you are just doing it because it's the next logical step, okay? And I see a lot of people do this, and it is a super duper common thing to do. Now, don't just start university because your parents told you to, or you think it's the next step, okay? I've seen so many graduates, they leave further education, they leave college, they go to university, and one of the things that they realize is they're just there because they have to be there. And something that you will see is that lecturers and professors will see right through this, okay? They're going to see people that have just entered these courses, and they can tell when people want to be there and when people don't want to be there. Some people are just there, believe it or not, just for the money. And one of the things that you'll realize is that actually there are going to be so many people on your course, depending on the type of person that you are, that are just there because it is the next logical step after college or further education. Don't be one of these people, because these are usually the people that go through university, they just pass, or they do just fine, or in most times they actually even drop out. So you need to be really sure that your degree is going to set you on the pathway after your career to build those skills, okay? If you're just attending university for just the sake of it, then sometimes that's not worth it, okay? That's just an honorary note I'm going to put in there. So just a quick one today. Thank you guys for watching. That's just a little few tips and tricks, some things that I've learned. Ask yourself the really important question, is a degree worth it? Well, what are you going to get out of it? Where is it going to take you? What sort of skills is it going to set you up with when you are finished, okay? If you can realistically roadmap your career pathway from when you start your degree to when you end, then this is going to give you a better insight of how that degree will actually work in your life. So that is your decision to make. If you just like to go to university just for the experience, that's totally fine too. But for me, it was more about what I got out of university rather than what is the next step in my life, okay? Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.